Hey guys, you can probably tell I have just finished filming this video because the bed's a mess because I've been showing all these different books. I'm all over the place, but just very quickly, hi, my name's Alice. Welcome to my channel. I do all sorts on this channel, but a big part of something about me that I enjoy is that I'm a big reader. I love to read. So today I thought I'd go through all the different books that I have in my possession and talk a little bit about them. It's a wild ride. I hope you enjoy. Hey gang, welcome to my video. This is a weird video. I'm just gonna say it. Oh, my hair clips are falling out. It's, what time is it? 7:30? I've had a long day, a long day, and I really just need to go to bed and have an early night. But my commitment to you guys is greater than my need to sleep. So we're going with it. I think you guys are squint. I feel like shit. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I feel really unwell. I've been unwell for the past 5 days, but it's like never really turned into anything. Like it's not become like a proper cold or anything. It's just, I just feel blah. But I'm committing. This is a cozy little video. It's a little bit different. Let's give it a go. This is my book collection. This isn't my book collection. There's more. This is just what I have in front in this shop right now. But I figured let's go through my entire book collection, all the books I have. I am not someone that's got a whole room of books, aka a library. That would be my end goal. But at the moment I have this room to work with, which is also my bedroom and where I work. So this is what we're going with. These are the books I can keep at the moment, but hopefully one day in the future I can do another one. I've got like a whole library. That would be cool. Okay, so can you see me if I kneel down? Yeah, that'll do. I don't know if that helps or not. Anyway, so just moving any of the little like decorations. This is fantasy, is kind of where I've started because fantasy is probably the genre of books I read the least. I'm just not a fantasy girl, although a lot of people have told me to read Fourth Wing, so maybe I need to give that a go. But I've got a few. So up here, I have my Chronicles of Narnia set. I have the whole set. This is, I don't know exactly what like edition these are, but they're the ones that look like this. I quite like them because they look quite modern, but they've still got like the sort of old-timey drawings on them, illustrations, whatever you want to call them. They don't all quite fit on the top shelf, like hence why this one's a little bit further up, but I didn't want to move them all down. I wanted them on one shelf. So this is what we're working with. I then have my Harry Potter collection. One second, let's put that one back. I have this set. I have multiple Harry Potter sets, let's be real. But I have this set because I think they're the prettiest. They're like a fairly new children's set that came out, children's edition. I mean, it's the exact same inside, but I just think the covers are so pretty. They've got a lot of like gold foiling on them. Really nice. I'm not talking much about these books because I feel like everyone knows what they're about. I'm fighting for my life putting all these back in because they fit like just so. And then I have The Hobbit. Again, a gold foil. I'm always about the covers that have the gold foil. I've got The Hobbit and The Fellowship of the Ring because I've never read Two Towers of Return of the King. I probably will at some point, although if you watch my like what I read this season, you'll know that this series of books, not my favourite, but I'm committed. I'm going to read them all. Hold on. I'm making sure I put everything back, because if I finish this video and there's just a pile of books on the floor, I'm going to have a mental breakdown. So we're just having to work on it as we go. There are going to be some weird angles in this video. I don't know what I'm doing. What if I did that? That makes a little bit more sense, doesn't it? I'm still getting used to this tripod and it leans back a little and I don't really know how to fix that, but we're working on it. Second shelf, murder, crime, mystery. Not got a lot, but it's a genre I'm enjoying. I'm just going to move you guys in so you can see, like, hello, like this. So I have Agatha Christie, Appointment with Death. One of the, well, the only Agatha Christie book I have and the only Poirot book that I have as well. This would make a good thumbnail. I'd like to get more, and I've actually read a couple more, but it's very hard for some reason to find them all with this cover style, which I really like. I don't like the sort of cover style that's going at the moment, and I can't find them, so I'm going to have to get rid of this one, like donate it, and replace it with the not so nice book covers. Can anyone else feel my pain? And then I have my full Janice Hallett series, although I've recently found out that she's made a children's book, so I'm definitely going to have to buy that. Even though it's a children's book, I love her style of writing. So we've got The Appeal, The Christmas Appeal, Alberton Angels, Twyford Coat, and The Examiner. Love all of them. The Appeal and Christmas Appeal are my favourites, but The Examiner was pretty good. The other two were fine. They were just fine. Then we've got Tom Hindle. I've got A Fatal Crossing and The Murder Game. He has written more. I will slowly work my way through them. I like Tom Hindle. I don't love his books, but they're good. They do all right as like a fun murder mystery. Then we've got Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, Killjoy, Good Girl's Guide to Good, and Good Girl Bad Blood. These books are a lot of fun. Really enjoy them. I've got one or two more in the series that I haven't read yet. They're on my to-read list. And I know she's done a whole other like series, but on the same sort of vibe. It's actually very similar to Janice Hallett, but Janice Hallett is better, I have to say, at doing that sort of multimedia crime sort of thing. And then that's when my crime finishes. So now we're on to rom-com, romance, romantic fiction. So I've got Pumpkin Spice Cafe and Christmas Tree Farm by Laurie Gilmore. I love this series. They're like Hallmark movies. Can I zoom out? No. They're like Hallmark movies to a T. They are so good, so fluffy. I just love them. So I got those two. There are more. I'm working my way through them. Then I've got the Hannah Gray series, Icebreaker, and then down here I'll move in a sec, Wildfire and Daydream. I love this series of books. They're all sort of set around the same characters. Icebreaker is the best. It's the first one. It's the best one. Read that one if you're going to read any of them. Can you guys tell that I'm maybe a little bit doolally, feeling very ill, on a lot of medicine, and tired? This was not a good time to do this video. I apologize. It's all over the place. Moving on, I've got my Ali Hazelwood set, which is like STEM romances, all themed around the science industry. So we've got Love on the Brain, Loath to Love You, Love Theoretically, and Check and Mate. I'm actually currently reading Not in Love. And then she's also done, is it called Deep End? Still need to get that book. And then I think I have the full set. So I'm working my way through that, but I like her books a lot. And then I've got Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This is probably my most reread book apart from Harry Potter. Love Red, White and Royal Blue. So good. Just so like heartwarming. There's a film. Watch the film. The film's great. Moving on, Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. Kind of a slightly different romantic fiction. A bit more like, a little bit more true crimey. I don't know. Maybe it needs to go sort of somewhere in between. And then we move on to horror, which again, burgeoning genre for me. I've always liked horror books. I've just not read that many. So we have Susan Hill's The Women in Black. Very famous book, very famous film. I think there's been a couple of film adaptations, and there's the stage play as well, which I definitely want to see. Really enjoyed that. Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. Love the TV show. I did appreciate, I knew going into reading this book that the TV show was like nothing like it, but I didn't love Haunting of Hill House. It was okay. Diavola, still haven't figured that one out, by Jennifer Thorne. Modern horror, really good. It's set in like the summer, like Italian villa, Call Me By Your Name vibes. So it's not really what you expect. It is a horror setting, but it's really good. And then Never Whistle at Night, which is an anthology of Native American horror. Really good. Like all anthologies or like lots of short stories all together. Some are better than others, but it's a good read. Then we're into just fiction. Good Wives, Louisa May Alcott. I've also got Little Women. I've got that in like a really nice sort of collector's set, which I'll show you in a minute. Can't find a nice version of Good Wives to go alongside it. I mean, this is okay, but it doesn't fit. You'll see what I mean when I show it to you. So it's just relegated to fiction. And then we go all the way down the bottom. I can barely show them to you. So still fiction, but weirdly enough, it's just alphabetized, but these are all like themed together. So I'll skip to this one. Daisy Jones and the Six, Taylor Jenkins Reid. Loved it. Surprise hit. Really want to read The Six Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I never get the number right, but I really enjoyed that. These ones are all like basically like Holocaust fiction. I don't know. So Zone of Interest by Martin Amis, because I really enjoyed the film. Didn't love the book. Boy in the Striped Pajamas. I've discussed that a lot. All the Broken Places, which was the sequel, I actually thought was pretty good. And The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris, which was amazing. TV show was also very good. Quite different, but really good. Then I've got my Penguin classics. So I've got Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. I really enjoy how these look. I won't take them all out, but I really enjoy how they look. They're very sleek. George Orwell's 1984. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Stevenson's Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. For some reason they did this one in orange. The rest are white. This one's orange. What the hell? And then my favourite book of all time, Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's kind of what the covers look like. They get like an artist to kind of do a rendition. It's very good. So that is all my books on my just generic bookshelf. Okay, we've moved slightly. I am very, very poorly lit. That's a little better. It's a weird time of day. In the summer, it's 7:30 at night. The sun's doing weird things. This is what we've got. So I'm moving on to my shelf. It's my windowsill. This is historical books, so just straight up, not fiction, just history, and some historical fiction that for some reason I've decided to put over here. It doesn't all make sense, okay? So starting off, I have 2 in the Penguin Monarchs collection. I want to eventually get them all. It's just books, very short books, like you could probably read it in a day if you really wanted to, about each of the English monarchs. It doesn't really include all the Scottish ones, but they're really interesting. And I always think learning about the royal family of the time, especially further back in time, is a really interesting way to learn about that time period. When you start getting into the modern ones, not so much, because they kind of become irrelevant. But I've got John, 1199, and Edward IV, 1461. I'm not good with Roman numerals. You'd think with the amount of history I read I would be, but I'm not. So I've got those 2. And then I won't show you them all, but I've got a lot of Alison Weir books. So I've got Elizabeth of York, Last White Rose, and then I've got the full 6 Tudor Queens series. I'll show you the first one. So I've got Catherine of Aragon. The reason I'm not just showing it to you is because you'll get like a full blast out my bedroom window, and I don't want to dox myself. So they all kind of look like this, but each one's a slightly different colour. So that's why I've kind of put them separately together, because they look really nice, all in a row, all in a slightly different shade. There's tons more Alison Weir books out there. I'm hoping to read them all because I really like her style of writing historical fiction. And the one book here that kind of doesn't make any sense is I've got My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. This is full horror fiction. It's okay. I've done a review of it. It's okay. But it doesn't fit on my bookshelf because it's like an irregular size. So it is just going with my non-fiction books for now until I have space to get like a bigger bookshelf. So I've organized my historical shelf on like time periods. So going back to the furthest one, or I say furthest, it starts with ones that kind of cover lots of time periods. So I've got Horror Unmasked, A History of Terror from Nosferatu to Nope. It's just all about horror films, and it's a really good time. It's a great book, a really good coffee table book. Learned a lot about horror from this, and I want to watch every single film that's mentioned in this book, and I will at some point. Then we've got Mythology, Timeless Tales of Gods and Heroes by Edith Hamilton. This I got because it's so pretty and it has beautiful illustrations in it. Let me see if I can find one somewhere. Hold on. Was that one there? They're kind of hard to find. Oh, there's one. Hold on. See? Gorgeous. And it's just about like Greek and Roman myths, a bit of Viking myth in there as well. It's cool. Bit long for my liking. I think from reading this I learned that like the old myths and gods isn't really my cup of tea in terms of historical periods to learn about, but it's still useful to like, you know, improve your knowledge. Then I've got Philippa Gregory's Normal Women. Amazing book, literally just about the history of women that don't really get talked around about in history. So it's not about the queens, the empresses, the people who stood up to the monarchy and or the patriarchy and did these amazing things. It's about the normal women who lived life and kept society and the economy going, and it's really good. Again, it's a big one, but it's really, really good. We're skipping pretty far in history from ancient Greek myths to World War II, but that is my sort of, as you guys know, area of interest. So I've got Mouse, which is a graphic novel, but it is factual. It's about the author Art Spiegelman's grandparents and their history during the war and what they went through. Very tough read, often called the most like harrowing, disturbing book of all time. Can definitely see why it's not for everyone, but it is very good. A classic, Diary of Anne Frank. You guys know I'm a student of genocide, Holocaust. You kind of have to have read this, you know, I don't really need to explain it that much. Incredible book. Big time jump to the 80s. I'm still filling out my historical books collection. I'm fairly new at reading history, just straight up history books, so I've not got many. But we're now in the 80s. Voices from Chernobyl. Best book of Chernobyl I've read so far. It's purely people's testimony. It's oral history. I have read a few oral history books and I think it's the best way to learn about something. Not too big, very accessible, amazing book. And it's what the HBO miniseries Chernobyl was based on. It's this book. And I've recently finished Midnight in Chernobyl by Adam Higginbotham. I'm not sure. If you want detail, this is it. You can see where it's sun bleached. This has every little detail about Chernobyl, something I'm very interested in, just as like a side hobby, I guess, if you want to call it a hobby. Really interesting, but not as accessible as Voices from Chernobyl. And even though this is way more detail, I feel like because you're getting the oral history of people that were there from the other book, it just gives you a better sense of what happened. And then finally, moving into the 2000s, The Only Plane in the Sky, The Oral History of 9/11 by Garrett M. Graff. Again, an oral history. Amazing. I read this, I read it again, and then I read the audiobook because they get actors to read out and then they use like actual like plane transmissions and things like that. Very comprehensive. If you don't know, I'm autistic, and for a long time my special interest was 9/11. I hesitate to call it a special interest because it makes it sound so cavalier about something that was so horrible, but it's kind of the shortcut way for me to basically say I wasn't just obsessed, like I was obsessed, like I knew everything. And this was a really, really good book. If you are interested, there were things in this that I didn't know, which at the time was very hard for me to find something I didn't know about the event, so definitely recommend it. I'm at my next shelf. This is to read, so everything on this windowsill is a book I've bought that I want to read, and of course I keep buying more and more books without actually getting through them, so it's getting a little bit overwhelming. These are in no order whatsoever. I literally just shove them on the shelf because I tend to just pick a book to read that sort of interests me in the moment. So yeah, that's what we're going with. So first one is The Trumpet Major by Thomas Hardy. This was actually given to me. This is my grandmother's copy of the book, and she thought I might like it. So she got me that, and she also got me Test of the D'Urbervilles, which is also by Thomas Hardy. Read that one, really enjoyed it. This one's been sitting for a while, so I definitely need to read this one soon. It's just, the writing's so small, it puts me off just starting. But once I start books like this, I really enjoy it. It's hard for me sometimes to be like, okay, let's actually get going into the story. But so that's probably been sitting there the longest, but I'm looking forward to reading that one. We've got Wicked by Gregory Maguire. Love the film. I've been a big fan of the musical for pretty much as long as I can remember. I've been to see it in multiple places, multiple times. I've never read the freaking book. I know it's supposed to be absolutely nuts, but we'll see. I guess I'll see for myself at some point. This is another one that's been sitting here for a while. The Mother-Daughter Murder Night by Nina Simon. It's just about this mother and daughter that I guess solve a murder. I think I'd get through it pretty quick. I don't know why I've not actually just started reading it. I think this will definitely be an autumn read, you know, to sort of get the sort of crime, spooky, mystery stuff going. I think once summer's over, I'm definitely going to read this one. This one I have been putting off, and for good reason. It's Harry Potter in Spanish, The Philosopher's Stone. If you don't know, I speak Spanish. I can speak in present tense, so call that speaking Spanish if you want. But they do say reading a book you're really familiar with in a language is a really good way to learn the language. So at some point I will sit and read that. I have another Laurie Gilmore book, The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. Again, Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. I'm waiting till autumn to read this. I need to buy, every time I go to the bookshop, she's got a strawberry picking farm one that's very summery. I need to get that before summer's over and read it, but I'm very much looking forward to this one. Next one is another Penguin classic to add to my collection, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Didn't really pick this one up for any particular reason, just wanted to add it to my collection. Everyone says it's amazing, so I need to read it. We have L. Frank Baum's The Wizard of Oz. Similar reason I picked up Wicked, and it's actually surprisingly short. I think for some reason I always assumed it was going to be a massive book. Gorgeous cover. This is part of the Wordsworth Collector Editions. This is the book series, apart from the Penguin Classics that I collect. You'll see the ones I've already got in a minute. Gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. Gold foil. See, that's the thing. So excited to read that. And then I've got 2 Stephen King books as part of this sort of new collection. I've got The Shining. I have read this before. I loved it. I read it as a teenager, and it's genuinely the scariest book I've ever read, but I've not read it since, so I'm really excited to give it another go. And then I got Skeleton Crew, which is a series of short stories by Stephen King. And I originally heard of it because it's got the monkey in it, which obviously was a film that came out fairly recently. I think it was this year, and that I enjoyed. But it's also got The Raft, which I've heard is a really disturbing, creepy story. And you guys know I'm all about the creepy, disturbing, keeping you awake at night, but not through terror, through like being disturbed. What's wrong with me? So I'm looking forward to reading those. I've got 14 Days, which is by a lot of authors, but it's edited by Margaret Atwood, who did Handmaid's Tale. I've deliberately never watched the show or read it because apparently it hits too close to home and I think it would scare me. But this is about different people that live in this same apartment building during lockdown. Now, anything COVID related, I'm like, no. But I've heard it's really, really good. And the COVID part of it's kind of just there to tie all the stories together, and it's not really like that big of a deal in it. So I'm excited to read that. Speaking of my Penguin monarchs, I have George III. 1760. Again, I'll read this in a day. I just need to get around to actually doing it. Britain's longest reigning king, apparently, and obviously George III had a lot going on. If you don't know, he is the king in Bridgerton, and he's also the king in Hamilton. 2 very different portrayals of the same man. If you do the cooking by the book, then you'll have Then I said I had more Holly Jackson, As Good as Dead. It's big, but you get through it super quick because of like the multimedia nature of it. Really looking forward to that. Again, saving that for autumn. If you guys watch my What I Read Each Season video, you are going to get a lot of crime in autumn. I don't even know what books I've got. I've got the Strawberry Patch Pancake House. And here I was saying I need to buy it. See, this is why it's good for me to go through these. Okay, I have it. I need to read it before summer's over. That is my promise to you. But look, it looks so summer. Well, it probably looks more springy, but we'll say it's summer. I also have another Alison Weir book, Mary Boleyn. This one is not, I don't believe it's historical fiction like the others are. This is just straight up a history book about Mary Boleyn. I could be wrong. No, it is. She kind of does a bit of both, like just the straight up history and the historical fiction. That's why I really like her. She does a bit of both. So whichever one kind of floats your boat. These next 2 I literally just bought the other day. This is The Boy Who Drew Auschwitz. It's about a boy who went to Auschwitz, and once he was out, he drew basically what he saw, what his experiences were, and it kind of really helped historians and just people in general get a much better understanding of what actually happened in there. So it like includes his drawings. I won't show too much because I haven't actually looked to see if there's anything particularly that you can't show on YouTube in there. But I just thought it was, and there's lots of photos. I just thought it was a really interesting way to learn a little bit more about this. The other one I got the other day is called Carmilla, and or maybe Carmilla. I haven't heard of it before. It's by Sheridan Le Fanu. I don't know, but it's a vampire book, and it was written before Dracula, and apparently it kind of inspired Dracula. Very short, so very excited. And apparently it's got a lot of lesbianism in it, which I mean, if it was written in the Victorian times, I'd be very surprised, but we'll see. So I'll give you a full update on that one. Here's another Poirot, Murder on the Links. I believe this was the first Poirot book she ever wrote. This is the cover I was telling you about that they've all got. It's fine, but I prefer the other one. So once I've read this, I'll probably have to get the other one in this cover format, which is really annoying. This is another just straight up factual book about the Medicis by Mary Hollingsworth. Always been very interested in the Medicis. They're a very interesting family, but I don't know a lot about them, and the cover is gorgeous, so I'm excited to read more about that. Speaking of disturbing books, Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about this book and how disturbing it is. And you know, Judge Holden is often said to be like the most evil book character ever written, so I'm excited to give that a go, and the cover is gorgeous. And then finally on my to read shelf, I got this last time I was in Disneyland Paris, and it's the Space Mountain book. So they are doing a book series, a gorgeous book series that kind of details the history and the construction of all of their rides. They are all in French and English, which is cool. So you just read the bits that you can read. I've got the what have I got? Pirates and Haunted Mansion one, and this was the next one that they've come out with. I've never actually been on Space Mountain, I'm too scared, but I wanted the set, so I need to read this. And again, I'll read that in like an evening at some point. I forgot to show you right here, I've also got some really big books that when I have my own coffee table, I'll put them on there. Harry Potter Page to Screen, an amazing book. So much information. If you're a fan of the Harry Potter films, you need to read this. And then my brother got me the first 3 Jim Kay illustrated Harry Potter books. Definitely want to get them all at some point, but I've got the 3 to start with. We're now moving on to these bookshelves up here, but I am not willing to bring them down, mostly because these bookshelves are not stuck to the wall very well, so I don't like to touch them. But up there you can just see I have my full Hunger Games collection. I don't really talk about it much on this channel, but I am like a huge Hunger Games fan, like always have been before the films. Yes, I'm that kind of fan. I'm a true fan, not a fake fan. So I've got them up there, and then these are my Wordsworth collector editions that I was telling you about that I have read, but I've also just got my 2 other Disneyland Paris books, the Haunted Mansion, the Pirates of the Caribbean ones that I just said. So I'll show you them carefully. Pretty covers. Louisa May Alcott's Little Women, Jane Austen's Emma, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre, I'm fighting for my life here, Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights, Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, yes I have it twice, Tess the D'Urbervilles, Thomas Hardy, and Treasure Island, Robert Louis Stevenson. Oh, that was dangerous. Ignore the messy bed. I was literally just kneeling on it to be able to see all those books. Last, we're on a pile of books just down here, which is my currently reading books. Only a couple, 6. It's too many to be reading at one time. I got this for my birthday, the best scary movies of all time, horror cinema. A bit like the other one, but this one's much more like academic and really talks about like the psychology and the background of why certain like horror trends were popular at a certain time and how they represented, you know, fears of the society of the time and stuff. Really interesting, really enjoying this so far. I've taken a bit of a pause on reading this because 6 books is too many, but as soon as I finish one of them, I'll bring this one back into rotation. I have Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. I mentioned this before, one of her sort of STEM science books. I'm not talking about these in too much detail because when I do my What I Read this summer series, you'll hear more. Harlan Ellison's Greatest Hits. Bought this to read I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, but I thought may as well read a lot more of his short stories. Rise and Fall of the Third Reich by William R. Shirer. I've talked about this so much. I've been reading this since Christmas, guys. I'm working my way through it. And then I've also got 2 books I actually left at work because I like to read during my lunch break. One is Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own and 3 Guineas. It's her 2 sort of short things put together in one book. Really enjoying that. And the other one is Homegoing. I can't remember the name of the author off the top of my head because it's not the kind of book I would normally read. It's my book groups book of the month. I've only just started it and I'm really enjoying it so far, so I'm definitely gonna have to check out more of what that author's written. And guys, that was a chaotic, spur of the moment, all of my books collection. I've obviously read a lot more books than this, but I just keep ones that I really like or have some kind of value to me for some reason. If I read a random fiction book and I hate it, I'm not going to keep it, you know. I only keep books that have beautiful covers or are kind of like a discussion point or I'm really proud to have read, like Crime and Punishment, or I don't know, just means something. So yeah, that is my book collection. Let me know if you read any of these books. What's your favorite? Are there any I mentioned that you hate and you're really surprised to see that I've got? I don't know. I'd love to know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you next week. Bye.